I'm sure many of you hear the word eugenics and instantly think of a not-so-friendly Austrian painter. This is not what we are talking about, rather the idea of personal selective breeding. The idea of selective breeding, which is to improve the genetic quality of your offspring, is completely natural. And what literally every organism tries to do. We all practice eugenics to a degree through mate selection. We look for the best genes and try to reproduce with them. This is how species evolve. In fact, we even practice eugenics on other animals. It's why humans are smarter than other hominid species, because we showed selection bias when it comes to reproduction. It's why giraffes developed longer necks. This is all simply eugenics at play. It's the reason why women want a Chad and men want a Stacy. We desire certain genes to continue into the next generation. Now, the point of this video is understanding how to use this idea to your advantage to improve the genetics of your own family and therefore have Chad and Stacy offspring. First, let's quickly understand why you should do this. Simply put, there is no better gift you can give to your child than good genetics. It will literally influence every aspect of their life, and if you truly love them, you want them to have the best quality of life possible. So many people worry about not having the finances to give a child a good life, when they should really worry about giving them the best genes possible. Now, there are certain features which vary across the world, and I cannot give a universal suggestion on which you should go for. That's simply up to your preference. But there are some features you should definitely pay attention to give your offspring the best chance of being attractive and therefore having a better life. But first, we must talk about what you need to do. First, you must look. Smacks. So many people give up and say, looks. Maxing is pointless because they won't reach Chad tier, for example. So why even bother? The reason is because by looks maxing, you now have access to a wider pool of genes in the dating market, which means you have better odds of successfully employing eugenics. To have Chad offspring, you must reach high-tier normie status at least. Now, even if you fraud this, you still get access to partners with better genes, therefore it's necessary to looks max. Step 2. Once you have looks maxed, you will be in one of 3 tiers: Chad, normie, or sub 5. Now, just like all things in life, Chad has it easiest. At this tier, you will have the SMV to attract Stacys, who are also highly attractive and have great genes. So simply put, just end up with one of them and move on to step 3. Now on to normies. These are the people who can gain the most from successful selective breeding. Simply put, you must analyze your face or have someone else objectively analyze your face. You then find out what are your best features and what are your worst. Now, of course, any of the tiers would succeed by dating a Stacy, but the reality is your SMV won't allow for this. So instead, you must look for other normies who have the opposite feature set to you. For example, if you have a bad eye area but a good jaw, find a normie with a good eye area and a weaker jaw. Your features will have the likelihood to counteract each other's phalos. This goes for every feature of the face. Look for someone who succeeds in areas you are lacking, and vice versa. Also, it's important to know what features are genetic and what are environmental. One very powerful method is to find an obese Stacy who has good underlying genes, but due to her environment doesn't express them as well. You will get the benefit of great genes, but not have to compete with Chads due to her lowering her own SMV. Also, you can leverage height if you have it to get a shorter girl with a more attractive face, or vice versa. Now, for those of you who are sub 5, unfortunately, you're cooked. No, but it is very difficult as your SMV is too low to employ the same strategy as the normies, so assuming you have exhausted every form of looks maxing hard and soft maxes. If you are still a sub 5, your goal is simply to find a partner. This will be extremely difficult, most likely will involve beta buxing and being an oofy doofy, but if you get an offspring from it, it's worth it. Your goal is simply to reproduce, then move on to step 3. Okay, now you have successfully deployed eugenics. Step 3 is to maximize the environment for correct development. This, of course, starts with nutrition. This isn't just the nutrition of the child, but of the mother during pregnancy, and even more so your nutrition before you even do the previous step. This is so unbelievably important. The genes can be great, but will not fully express if the child is malnourished, which most people are today. So adopt a primal diet. Watch my video or check out the links in the description. The goal is to stay as close to this diet as possible. You may have to change it a little to convince your partner, but the closer you are to it, the better developed your child will be. Combine this with an appropriate light environment and remove pollutants. This is so important, especially if you are not a Chad, as the likelihood is you are already suffering degeneration from previous malnutrition. But you can start undoing that damage and give your offspring the best chance possible. This is how you have more attractive children and therefore improve the quality of life for the next generation.